Yeah. All right. I think this is working. Are you there? Hey, everybody. This is CaliAir, and I'm back. Man, what a trip it has been. It's been 5 months since I've been able to do an edition of, well, this used to be the A.I.R show. I guess it still is the A.I.R show, meaning the Air Gun Investigation and Review show.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But then I started getting crazy about daisies. And so I kind of morphed it into daisy.com. And yeah, I'm going to turn this up a little bit just to make sure you guys are hearing us okay. So how you guys doing, man? Let me know in the comments. And man, over the past 5 months, so many more people have come aboard and subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so and hit that notification button, and you'll know when I make another video, which I promise you won't be another 5 months. But hey, I think you can pardon me, because we've been going through, the whole world has been going through a little bit of a topsy-turvy situation. But for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm CaliAir. This is Hamilton, the Swedish James Bond. That's right. And he's joining me here for the long-awaited episode of Picking a Daisy. So
I'm excited. What do we got here?
Well, let me explain, give you a little backstory. I think you know most of it. I think I told it to you, but I'll tell it again. And if I lie, you can say, just kidding.
No, I need to hear it.
Yeah. I went for a road trip. It was, I guess, about January. Yeah, January. And my whole mission was to go to all the different parks along the way, from West Coast all the way down south and to the East Coast. Stop at every wonderful national park that that was there. So I was going to take my time, but along the way, go look for daisies. Right. And yard sales and stuff like that all over the place. And then also make videos, because I've been doing this series for a while now. And so I think the last time these guys saw me, those of you that have been following the channel, you saw me in Nevada when I was out in the desert in Nevada. And I think we had Cowboy Chad guest hosting. Right? Yeah, that's right. You're a guest host, not a co-host, a guest host. That's a much more prestigious position. So
happy to be here.
So I brought some daisies with me on the road, right? I figure, let me bring some daisies that maybe I can even trade. If I find another daisy collector, maybe we could do a trade or something. And again, being out there in the wilderness areas, mostly BLM areas near wilderness areas, and and find out where it's legal to shoot a gun, because if you shoot a gun, you can shoot a BB gun.
Have to make sure,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's silly, because in urban areas, these are so quiet that you can really shoot these indoors if you have a proper target. You wear some eye protection. You can shoot them in your backyard, as long as your neighbors don't mind. They can't see, because they're not going to hear anything, right? And BLM lands, and there are areas everywhere where they're more gun friendly, so it wouldn't be a big deal to pull out a BB gun. Everybody would see and know that was a BB gun, a Red Ryder, right? In America, especially if you're somewhat a little older, Red Riders are just like, it's part of your childhood. It's almost bizarre to imagine that Red Riders would be a problem in America, right? But
we can be mistaken for a real.
well, that's right? If you don't know, right? If you don't
Yeah.
know the difference between a BB gun and sure, they kind of, some of them look realistic, especially some of those A.R.s, right? And so that can make people nervous and whatnot. But I tell you what, having one of these cases, I'm not selling these. I don't work for, Daisy or anything like that. But when I saw these, I picked up a bunch of them because, as you guys know, I have a bunch of Red Riders, or not Red Riders, a bunch of Daisies. And so, and I think by putting it in a big, playful red case with Red Rider on it, really big, I think that really helps in the safety.
It looks less threatening.
Yeah, I mean, if you have one of these and then maybe even, it's displayed prominently while you're using it, then maybe I would think there's a much greater chance that someone wouldn't get confused, So, so consider that. That might be a very nice safety measure, especially in these sort of times where people are sort of on edge and whatnot. So anyway, 5 months ago was the last video out in the desert. And then I went off to New Mexico into the deserts, the mountains there. Geez, I forget the range of mountains out in New Mexico. Santa Cruz, the Santa Cruz Mountains there. They're not called Santa Cruz Mountains, but there's a whole, I almost want to say loaf or something range. But anyway, I was in that mountain range again most of the time from January all the way out until, by this time, March. I was isolated out in the wilderness. So when I was in New Mexico, before I could make another video, which on its own was, took a long time, April, or I'm sorry, January, February, March. So I almost missed a month already there, but that was because I was traveling and moving really slow. Pardon. So I get to New Mexico and I'm revving up to make a new a video, and then I get sick. Again, this is March. Pardon me. There we go. Yeah, I get sick. I'm not sick right now. My throat's dry or something. I got sick, and I got really sick. And I got so sick that I couldn't stay out in the mountains anymore. And the weather, in March is very, it's all changing. Everything's the weathers are changing.
Nights,
sometimes really hot, sometimes really cold. So, I couldn't stay out in the mountains in New Mexico anymore. So I went into Las Cruces and got a hotel, and then wound up in that hotel for 3 weeks. Now, we're on somewhat of a budget. That's on this. And the reason why I was going to be able to do this was to be able to stay on BLM lands and go through the state parks and take my time.
The right way.
Yeah. And take my time and, make my own food out there in the wilderness. So everything was going wonderful until I got sick. Usually I can rough. This was a sickness that it was a scary sickness. It was sort of flu-like, but it would just seem much more severe and much more debilitating.
How were you breathing?
The breathing was okay. Yeah. So, but it was out all exits, cold sweats,
dragged out for 3 weeks.
Well, just being sick and like noticeably sick, like Like you don't want to try to, and if I did try to move around too much, I would definitely just have to, almost pass out or something. So it was a very serious sickness. And right about then was when it came on the news that there's this COVID going around, right? So I tried right away to get tested. I talked to my doctor, and he said, asked me some questions, and said, "Nah, you don't need to be tested. Just self quarantine and get better."
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So there I was, just throwing money away now in a hotel,
which could have lasted you for a long time out in the wilderness, the way you know how to do it.
And I could have went back and forth 2 or 3 times.
And that was probably $100 a night, maybe
around there. Yeah, around there. So that was rough. That was really rough, and kind of bankrupt the whole mission. Now, of course, circumstances, I was happy to be alive. I know that we were now in this, even then knew that, they made a big deal out of it come March. It was on 24/7. There was nothing else on from the televisions there. So I slowly got better. It took probably more than 3 weeks. I'd say it probably took March to somewhere around the beginning of April, I felt that I was actually healthy again, So that was a long sickness and whatnot. And what I had done, my mission was to get to Florida to visit family and friends in Florida. And so at the end of the 3 weeks in New Mexico and Las Cruces, I decided, man, I'm just going to beeline it. Yeah, because that wasn't that far away, really, So I'll just beeline it, go right through Texas, go down through the southern route, and then get to Florida, to get to amongst family and friends.
Yeah.
So and of course, not even friends, because now everyone's quarantined. So only family, even with family, because my folks are well older than me. So there was really a big concern there. So you can imagine, right? And also having Luna, the 3-legged elderly pit bull, and she's
awesome.
Yeah, how people are with pit bulls and guns, So yeah, a very awesome journey kind of turned into a very somewhat of a nightmare. But again, I know a lot of people, when this hit, it hit a lot of people much harder than myself. And I always think that way when something happens to me. I always got to remember, man, there are people that have a much harder time. So
you had a rough one.
I just thank my lucky stars.
No fun being traveling, huh?
Yeah. So now here I am in Florida, and it's it's pretty much locked down, right? And it's been very difficult because I'm sure you guys are wondering, CaliAir, have you been able to shoot? No, I haven't. Because of everything that's going on and moving, not knowing the locations well enough, and the problems that are going on right now, and the sensitivities and whatnot. So no, I have not been able to shoot. But that hopefully will change soon. Now we'll even create a nice little safe BB gun thing in here, and we'll do some more videos. That's how we'll do it, right? If we have to. I was hoping that we can get out. We didn't even tell these guys where we're at right now. I'm in Denver, right? In Denver, Colorado, right in the city.
Right.
So again, shooting kind of.
Yeah, right on the highway here.
Yeah,
right?
it's challenging.
Not a good spot to walk around with, even if it's in a red case.
Yeah, and there are shootings in the cities it's even more difficult because there really are a lot of shootings, just random shootings going on and stuff. In any city, really, it's just a common, unfortunate event. Yeah, right. So, yeah, while I'm here, it's about what, April, May, right?
Yeah,
April,
you
May.
came here on May 5th.
May 5th. Okay, so Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. The reason I had to, once I'm in Florida, now it's getting hot. And it's in Florida. Oh, you guys live in Florida, I'm sorry. I used to go to Florida a lot when I was a kid. But
if you can just fish and be by the ocean, but it's still hot.
Yeah.
Still hot,
my God. So I was not, as it was getting hotter and hotter, and then Luna and whatnot, and even the Luna mobile, the car, it's just baking in the Florida heat, just like
Stinky.
Man. It's like, man, this is only March and April, right? So, so I knew that my time was limited there. I wasn't going to be able to stay there. And I also saw what was going on in Florida regarding the COVID thing, how it was not taken seriously. It was taken pretty seriously in the neighborhoods I was at. There were the face masks and the gloves and lines like that. But I'm sure there are a lot of areas in Florida that
beach goers.
Yeah.
Right. Close. Right?
Oh,
the beach lifestyle.
Well, I remember seeing that. I'm like, oh no. Again,
spring break.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm no virologist, I think it's called. So, I don't know what's up with this epidemic, and there's a lot of disinformation going on. All I know is it seems like erring on the side of safety,
right,
is probably not a bad idea, especially if it's the sort of thing that you might want to do anyway. I mean, in general, I've always felt kind of weird as growing up in America, but then experiencing Asian cultures and how close they are. Yeah, get away from me. I'm like, man, can't you kind of stay a little further? There's plenty of room. We can all stand, right?
Yeah.
So I've always liked being able to be 6 feet away.
This conversation, it's good. Yeah.
And one of the things, I won't go into this because this is more of a martial art topic, which we should remember, is nose breathing. If you breathe through your nose more and more, heavily through your nose and your mouth, the particle doesn't go as far.
Huge difference.
Yeah. So not only wearing a mask, but if you don't have a mask, just nose breathing might help. Again, I'm not a doctor, not a virologist, but it sounds it. The reasoning is sound to me.
Yeah,
right?
The way they explain the reason why we wear a mask. Right?
And now my nose itches. And not touching your face is a biggie too, right? So so I once I got better, I just I clean stuff. My whole thing is just keep everything clean, wipe everything down. But I like that anyway, because dust. I mean, if you can see dust, then come on, guys. There's probably tons of germs too, right?
If you
can see dust, so just cleaning up in general, and washing your hands in general. Your nose and your fingernails collect a lot of disease and germs and bacteria and stuff. So washing your hands and keeping them clean and keeping your nose clean. That's just like old school advice. It's old school advice. That's nothing new.
It works,
right?
Yeah.
So
good advice.
Yeah, hey, as America, let's give each other some distance, right? Give each other room, right? Keep it clean. Keep your nose clean, right? And we're good to go. Don't go to any heavy metal concerts.
Mosh pits.
You can't mosh or you can't headbang without being in a crowd. That's just too weird.
And I worked festivals in the last couple of years.
Oh,
and it was just huggy and people sweaty and lots of love and hugs. And
now, I'm gonna back to the Red Riders, back to Daisy, of course. So what do we got here? I'll ask you a question. Have you, Hamilton here is from Sweden. Did I say it right? Sweden?
Yeah, Sweden.
Svit, right?
Yeah, Sverige.
Sweden?
Sverige.
Oh,
That's Sweden. Sweden
Ooh,
in
Sverige.
Swedish. Yeah, Sverige.
Sverige.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
like a local.
you learned it here.
Wow.
Only on picking a daisy. Now, did you guys have daisies and red riders?
Yes.
Yeah?
I did, but I didn't have the rifle, but I did have the pistols.
Oh.
Yeah, but I gotta find out the brand. I came a little
it might not have,
today, guys.
It might not have been a daisy.
But I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Might have been a Crossman.
Daisy.
Crossmans were pretty popular too.
It's not a Crossman.
Yeah. The Daisy made some, as you guys know, throughout the years, they have made pistols. So that's certainly not out. And one of my favorite air pistols is the, I believe it's the 10. Oh, geez. See, that's how much time has gone by, guys. But you know which one I'm talking about. It's a,
you break it.
It's a 20. Yeah. And you do it. It's a, lever. Oh, geez. Well, it's a lot like the lever on the Red Riders, except it's on a pistol sort of lever. And you can do pellets one at a time, or you can do, I think it's about 20 or so BBs. And then you cock it each time.
I had those cones.
No, shoot. Boom, shoot. Yeah, there you go. And then you had to push in the back one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
I love those.
I love that. It was pretty inexpensively. In the description, I'll let you guys know which one that is. It's slipping my mind. I think it was, I want to say 1022, but that's not the right number. If you guys know, you can put it down in the comments. So, well, cool. That's
but rifles I prefer to shoot with. Yeah.
And in Germany, I swear I have an old Daisy 101 that I kind of suspect was a Nazi Germany era toy that made its way here to America. One of these days when we get back to the CaliAir collection, you'll be able to see the whole collection that I have. It's rough being away from your daisies.
I'm sure we'll get there.
But I did, like I told you in the story, I did bring some daisies with me. So you could really call this my Daisy EDC. You know what EDC stands for?
No.
Everyday carry. My Daisy everyday carry. Now, the one thing I wanted to have with me, because, this is just one of those things. When I get buried, there's certain things I want buried with me. And so it's one of these. Now, this isn't a Daisy. You guys have seen this. I'll bring it up a little closer. Yeah, you guys have seen this. This is called the Chinese hand dragon. And this is a spring-loaded dart that you just push. And as you guys know, the Chinese were the first to create these little handguns. Geez,
so slick.
Yeah,
I love it.
Again, history. I'm telling you, this sickness that when I got, I think it wiped out a good portion of my memory. So, but luckily, there's pickingadaisy.com, and I've got most of the information there. And then there's always Google. You'd always re-look this stuff up. But yeah, these are really amongst the first. They used stone initially, and then had a gunpowder and something that ignited, and then a projectile. Right. And so then this is a spring-loaded version of that. Of course, as metal came along, they started using metal and stuff like that. So and then
is this copper?
This is brass, I believe.
It is brass?
I think so.
Now, how old is this one?
I'm pretty sure this is 5 BC. No, just kidding. It could be. It could be. We're on the internet. No, I don't know. I did get this from China. but and it took a long time.
During your trip?
No, it wasn't during my trip there. But it was very hard to find. I found it on eBay, and it was, I don't think there were many left or made or something. So, and it took a long time. I was even skeptical that I would ever get it.
Hand dragon.
But the Chinese hand dragon. So this thing is cool. I don't really shoot it much. It's just a show off piece and one that kind of fits my character. And it's just a little spring-loaded dart so it doesn't really, it'll go into a watermelon, let's say, right? But it could poke your eye out, just like a daisy. This is the original. It'll poke your eye out, because that was the saying with the daisy. You know, don't poke your eye out, right? So, well, the movie, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm excited. I would love to try that one day.
Yeah, we'll play with this, and we'll bring you along with me. I did do one shooting with this for these guys. So if you want to see me shoot this, you just go back to the previous video I did, which was 5 months ago. I can't believe it's been that long. Look how old I got since then. So, but I also have these two Red Ryder cases, gun cases, and but you know, daisies are small enough that you can fit more than one. So of course I took advantage of that. Yeah. So now let me tell you what I first did when I was out in Nevada. I couldn't help myself. I had to buy a daisy Red Ryder, a daisy. I had to buy one. And the reason I had to buy it was because, it was in Walmart. But the reason I had to get it is because I didn't have one. Rather, I didn't have one on me. No, I had one, but then no longer had one. So for the longest time, you guys know I did a lot of videos on shooting the buck, the modern day Walmart buck. This is the small youth gun. And this is as you guys know, is probably my favorite gun. Wow. Just because, you know, it's the aim, it shoots really well.
Simplicity.
Yeah. It's not ideal. It's the only modern gun that I have. I've gotten rid of I think all of my modern guns except for maybe a Christmas Dream. Maybe I even got rid of that. We'll see. We'll see when we check the collection. So yeah, you know, this has got sort of a plastic handle and plastic trigger, and you know, as you guys know, the older ones were all sort of sheet metal and stuff like that. So. And I don't think they start going into the plastics until the 80s or so, right? So yes, I broke down and got one of these, and you guys know it because I did a video. I paired these together and did a video. So we certainly, the Daisy EDC has to include our favorite buck.
How much is that?
Oh, geez. Like $17.
That's it?
Oh, yeah. Wow. $17. Holds 750 rounds or something like that. Right? So
fun. I might have to get one for my kid.
Oh,
you didn't hear that.
Man, this thing, I mean, and I'm a grown man. You would think I would get the full version of it. No, this is nice and small. It holds a lot. It's as accurate as you can aim. I'll put it that way. A longer sight radius, of course, gives you better aim, right? It's easier to aim with a longer sight radius, but it just gives you more of a challenge. You know, you're only going to be shooting about 50 yards, the longest 50 yards away. I can hit a plate out at 50 yards with this.
Just aim a little above?
There's a little Kentucky windage. Yeah. Americans call it Kentucky windage. Yeah. So instead of adjusting the windage here, you just use your eye, right? So
50 yards, good.
Yeah. If you're good, you can. It doesn't take much. With a little bit of practice, you can hit out at 50 yards with some Kentucky windage. So yeah, it just gives you a little challenge with a shorter sight radius. But as long as your aim is good, then you're going to be able to hit out with this modern day buck. Now, a lot of the older guns can do it too, but it's, pun intended, hit or miss. Okay, I said I had 2 guns in each case. Now I'm feeling in here, this is not true. Another one that I have in here. Oh, here, look. So this is another one that, this is from oh wow, I get my Plymouth, Plymouth, Michigan. So it's the right before they went to Arkansas and moved to Arkansas. So you're talking about late 40s, out to maybe the 50s, but I'm pretty sure this is more late 40s. And it's a pop gun. So you put the corks, I have the corks, you put the corks in there, and it's a double-barreled pop gun.
Never seen before.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
So these are kind of hard to find in good condition, and this is pretty good condition. I had one that was made in Rogers, Arkansas as well. And in that rare instance, I would say the Rogers kids pop guns were actually nicer. They had some nice, I think, engraving or something, and it wasn't a painted barrel. What's strange about this is it's a painted barrel, which I, was under the impression that they only started painting them in the Rogers era. But as some of you might know, a lot of the guns that were made in the Rogers era were stamped Plymouth.
Okay.
So, but we don't know for sure, do we? Because these weren't serialized. So, although there might be a super Daisy historian out there that might have the story, because there are people for Daisy out in Michigan and Arkansas, and have a lot of families have worked for the company making these things. So a lot of them have a lot of knowledge that it would be great if you came out and shared that, especially down in the comments down below. Yeah. I actually was able to get an interview with sometime back with the president of the Daisy Museum.
Wow.
Yeah, he granted me an interview. It was an email interview, I believe. And
very nice.
I think I posted it on the pickingadaisy.com site. If I haven't, I'm going to have to do that. Okay. So, yes, there's yet a third gun. So 1, 2, 3. Again, the Daisy EDC. Yeah. This was the last Daisy that I acquired before leaving California to go on this journey. And this was given to me by a dear friend that found it in their their relative's barn, sort of thing. And it was just a hunk of rust. And there's almost like they're like, well, here, this is, I don't know if you can do anything. Well, as you guys know, I like to try to restore these things and get them working. And so I just put some elbow grease into it and got it working. And yeah, it works.
I'm noticing
it works.
Already
yeah,
here.
See, there is a similarity, which would make one think that this is an early buck.
Right.
But
it's not.
And it's also this is what makes it strange. This is an aluminum. Right, which didn't come out until after 1948. But
nice and light.
But this gun is marked Plymouth, as we know. So this is a mystery gun, and there is no markings that we can't read the markings. It's so bad that we can't really see exactly. We just what we can see is that it was stamped Plymouth. So we know it's around 1948 or earlier, but yet it has the post 1948 aluminum. They used, after the war effort, they stopped using cast iron, which was what was used prior, right? So we would expect this to have a cast iron, and we might suspect it to be like a Daisy 102 perhaps. But it's still kind of a mystery. It looks just like a buck, which is, I've always wanted, for posterity's sake, just to have an early version of this. So it may or may not be. We still don't know. There's been a lot of speculation in the comments. And if you guys have any ideas, let me know. But again, I can't make out the numbers here. Maybe we'll find a forensic specialist to try to decipher what the pool find out. Because the numbers on this is 105.
Okay.
So we just can't tell what the number is on here.
Now, how does this one shoot?
It shoots okay. Yeah, you really got to adjust for it. It flies a little wild. A lot of times with these, the more you shoot them, when they're old ones, there's a little tip. As long as you keep some oil in the barrel and you put a lot of rounds through them, a lot of times it will even out the barrel. The problem why a lot of these older ones don't shoot well is from 1934 and earlier, the barrels were actually brass. And so they used lead pellets, right? So little BBs. Now that's where BBs come from, the lead shot from shotguns. So then the size BB. And so those were used. There's more of a story behind that, but I won't go into it. But once they started using steel bearings, BBs, right? They started ruining barrels. So that's why if you have an early one that doesn't shoot well, it's probably because the shot tube was disfigured by the steel going through the brass, because brass is softer.
Yeah.
Right. So so that, I don't know if that's the case for this. Again, this is 1948 or so, maybe earlier. We don't know. But a lot of times, if you just shoot, they kind of correct themselves, or at least you get used to how it shoots and you do the correction. So, but yeah, I must say this does not shoot anywhere as nice as this one, but it's a miracle that this even shoots.
Got to get a little lucky.
It was just a big stick of rust. I swear to you, it was really something.
70 years old or more.
I would say this is, had my doubts. My biggest doubts of being able to restore this was probably on this one, and it took very little. I just knocked the rust off of it with some sandpaper, the green stuff, the sort of spongy green stuff, so it's not harsh, and just kept oiling 3-in-1.
Did you take a before picture?
I didn't. I usually do.
It's fun,
but since being on the road and whatnot, I really haven't been able to kind of focus on things that extensively.
Is this the cork you were talking about?
Yeah, there's one of the corks. Whoa. There's one of them right there. Yeah, there's another one in here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's the other one. Now, I'm not going to shoot it. And the reason I'm not going to shoot it is because it's just extremely less than impressive. Yeah. I don't know if because the other one that I had that I wound up, it cost too much and it was not in as good a shape as the sellers. I wound up having to return it. It was nicer though. It was nicer. I wish I had been able to keep that one and this one. This is not as nice, just cosmetically. Neither of them, for me, shot really well. I customized corks for them. Y'all don't think you'll ever find them with the corks. They're so old. The corks, rot and fall apart.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure if these ever shot well. If you know, of any of these old style corks that shot well, let me know in the comments, guys. All right, so there's 2 more. So, and yes, this is, I don't know, if you collect daisies, then I'm sure you empathize with me. Or if you're a collector of anything, I'm sure you empathize with me of going on a long road trip and going, man, what gun am I going to take? You know, and the thing is if these were all firearms, I wouldn't be able to take any because it's gone through so many states and the states don't reciprocate and stuff. So, you know, this kind of almost acts as a placebo of sorts if you're a gun collector, right? So, there's that one. And yeah, there's only 2 in this one, but 3 if you included this, right? So there are 3 in each of these cases. So in 2 of these Red Ryder cases, I was able to hold all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Very nice.
Daisies. Yeah, I don't think you can carry that many firearms in such a small container, you know, a small case. So both of these are in socks. These are silicone impregnated socks to help stop from rust. And rust was a problem while I was traveling. I have a gun here that's from 1915 or so, and it started rusting. And I'm like, oh no, you know. So yeah, I hadn't realized that that they had started. So this one is nickel plated, or and this one didn't do so bad, but I did have to knock a little bit of rust that was trying to form on it. So this one, guys, I'm gonna have to put my spectacles on because I haven't played with these for so long. I've forgotten what these are. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is a 102 model 38. So this model was designed in 1938 and is called a 102, which means it's sort of it's really the early version of this, unless that is, but it's really kind of the early, it holds a lot of, you know, a 102, so it kind of implies it's a repeater, it holds many, whereas the model 101 was a budget model that was sold as daisy for $1. You could buy a daisy and you just drop it in the barrel. A lot of times the lead BBs were in their mouth and they would spit one BB in at a time.
That sounds about right.
And boom, right? So yeah, this is a nickel plated 1938. Is it nickel the one? Oh, geez, man, I'm gonna have to ask COVID for my memory back. So yeah, and again, as you guys probably know, they're collectors. This is made back in Plymouth because we're talking 1938, right? How amazing, right? We're right plunged. Well, the world was plunged into World War II. We hadn't gotten involved, but yet. So, man, what history behind this gun?
Oh, wow.
So that, and then last but not least, and this, man, this got a little rust on it. I hope there's no more on there because I did. Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad. So this is 1915, 1917. This did get more rust, which made it harder to read. But it is amongst my earliest guns that I started to collect. And I can't even read this, guys. But it is a Model 17, number 17. So essentially 1917 or so. And now what's really awesome about this, it's been fixed over the years. You know, you could see all those ancient fixes.
Little repairs.
Yeah. This is a break barrel. 3 different kinds of ammo. It can do a pellet, it can do a BB, or a dart. And it's just a break barrel single shot.
Oh, nice.
And it is just
beautiful.
And it's amongst one of my most expensive guns.
I would have guessed.
I might have paid way too much for this. Yeah, somewhere between $300 to $500, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's not outrageous.
No, but for a piece of history,
right?
Because this really is the advancement over the very first gun that they made back in 1888, which was pretty much this kind of configuration, but it was just all made out of wire. So it was called the wire gun, or this is when they finally started going more towards a traditional looking gun, because in the you think about 1888 in history, everything was futuristic. So when they came out with a gun that was all wire, they weren't the only ones. Quackenbush, I believe, put out regular firearms that had that design as well. So it wasn't.
See a picture of that, but I love this design, the mechanics in this feature here. Wow.
Yeah.
Really nice lines in it.
So, and luckily here in Denver, it's pretty dry, so it hasn't re-rusted, and I really oiled it up after cleaning it up. So, but boy, I hate that, because one of the main things is when it rusts up, it starts to hide the engraving. You still want to see that, but you can still see the 17, right? It's at N017, number 17. So, so that's it, guys. That is my Daisy EDC carry. This is what I carry with me every day, everywhere I go. Wherever I go, I bring these. And as you can see, they all fit into two basic gun cases.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed.
Yeah. And the goal was, of course, as I was on the road, to try to find other guns, but because of the pandemic, they're not going to start rummaging through people's stuff and going and doing yard sales. I don't think there's a lot of people doing yard sales. So that was out. A lot of shops closed down. So trying to go find them in thrift stores, stuff like that. Everything shut down. So the only thing left would be to collect online. But even then, these are old guns handled by people.
They're not so savvy online.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
They might not even know they have it.
Yeah, and viruses and stuff last a lot longer on metal surfaces and stuff. Again, I'm not a virologist, but just again, to err on the safe side, paused on collecting any more of these, and hopefully I can get back to collecting. Trading is really what I'm interested in. I have you guys know what my collection is. It's on pickingadaisy.com. I have my whole collection up there. A lot of them I've sold off and just saved the gems, the best of the best I've held on to, and it still amounts to quite a collection still. And again, it's on pickingadaisy.com.
Cool.
And I think I even have it marked if the gun has been sold or acquired by someone else. But my goal has never really been to make money doing this, but to get a collection and then maybe even trade or trade up, or trade down.
Learn about it. Other people that are interested, right?
Exactly. You don't have to hold on to it forever. Just to be able to hold it, to clean it up and work it and get it working if it's not working, and then to play with it for a little bit, and then pass it on. Try pass on, then get one that you haven't had. Yeah. There's still a good handful, believe it or not, a good handful of daisies that I have never had yet. So There's not many, but there's still a good handful, and they're very hard to find.
Anything in particular you have?
Well, the wire gun.
No. Yeah.
From 1888. I wouldn't mind having another first edition version of the Chicago. The Chicago was an all wood made in 1888.
Ooh.
And I have one from 1899. But
1888 was the first year.
That's 1888 was when, when Daisy started making their BB guns or having. It's a story. Well, you guys know it. They commissioned someone to make the BB guns for them first, and they gave them away because they used to make windmills.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get a free BB gun with a windmill.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it was to shoot the birds off the windmill, right?
Yeah.
But people they didn't like the windmill. It's too heavy. It was all metal, I guess. But they loved the BB guns. And so they went into the BB guns. To me, I think they were like the first corporate gangsters because they went and took over everybody and really ruled the market there. And then they helped in the war effort in World War I, II, and Korean and Vietnam War. Daisy was there helping in those efforts as well. So it's quite a history that Daisy has. And I've always tried to encourage firearm owners to kind of look into Daisies just because of their aesthetic value. These things, man, if it weren't for our American youth shooting, by the time they went to war, they knew how to use these things.
Right.
And so that really came in handy in the various wars that America was in. Maybe not handy enough on some of them, right? But still a piece of history, right? And not to mention, Daisy is the longest holding license holder, business license holder agreement between another company, which was Remington.
Remington.
Right. I think it was Remington. I always get Remington, the other one mixed up, Winchester, Remington. But anyway, and I know there's some overlap there. So there's this, Daisy has an amazing history. These guns actually some of them are more and go up in value more than firearms would if you're a firearms collector. Of course, it all depends on which one, but something like this from the early 1900s in good condition still shoots. That goes up in value. There's not a lot of these in the world, right? So, are these my favorites? Favorites? Well, the Buck is my favorite just because it's the best shooter. It's a modern, it's great. Now, the only reason I don't love this gun is because of the plastic on it, but I just got to live with the plastic, right? Other than that, it's a great
fun shooting.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to be without it because it's of the accuracy, and as the guns get older, they're a little bit more fickle.
More for working on.
I really love my my very first edition Red Ryder from 1940. I have that. But as a shooter, I kind of like the Christmas Dream better, which is a more recent gun, right? It's like a reissue again with some plastic on it. All right, so here's the theme, right? As far as all metal guns, there's also the Model 25, which is a pump action. So I really love those as shooters. I would say some of those, are some of the more powerful shooters, especially from like the 50s and 60s. They're just industrial. Pop! They actually got a little bit of a kick to them, right? So although I may have gotten rid of all but my very original Model 25s. The new, they make a new 25. It's a great shooter. It's actually how I got into daisies. I bought a Model 25. Now, I don't own a new Model 25 anymore, again, because I'm trying to get rid of it. And the new Model 25, the only plastic on it was the trigger, right? Nah, I think maybe the sight, but the sights. But still, the new Model 25 is just an awesome shooter, but only will hold, just a shot to, I think shoots 25, 30 shots, something like that. You guys can correct me in the comments. You guys are going to have to do a lot of typing here.
Yeah.
It's like, no, CaliAir, what are you, getting old or something? Well, I'm telling you, that COVID erased some of my daisy memory. I got to get it back, man. You guys got to remind me, like an amnesia
You'll
patient.
get it back, and we'll get some shooting in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We got to get some in.
Yeah.
And I can impress you a little bit.
And I'll bring you guys with us when we do it, even if it's indoors, but I'm sure we probably be able to find an outdoor location. It's so beautiful in the Rocky Mountains here. So, all right, guys. Hey, once again, thank you guys for subscribing, for the comments. It's really great to see this community grow.
Nice.
I've been in the background this whole time, and seeing people as they're subscribing or leaving comments. I know I haven't been able to get to a lot of your comments right away. Forgive me. We're still a work in progress, and we're dealing with like a lot of you are. We're dealing with this pandemic and trying to be kind of fluid and flexible and doing whatever needs to be done in order to, get to the next day and stay healthy. So I hope you guys are doing the same. I hope you're just, not throwing caution, keeping it safe, relatively safe. Listen, regardless of where you are on this virus, rather, it's not a big thing or it's definitely a big thing, wherever you are on that scale, this is sort of like a fire drill, right? You want to stay kind of away from people, and you want to keep your distance. You want to keep it clean. It's old school advice, right? And hey, man, they followed that advice in 1918, and they got through it.
Valuable advice.
Yeah. So,
common sense.
1918 Spanish flu and whatnot. Imagine 1917. Now this gun lived through the Spanish flu. The 1919 Spanish flu. This gun was there. We weren't.
This pandemic.
But this gun was there, and now it's good point. Now it's here for another. I wonder how many pandemics you've been through. All right, guys. Hey, if you haven't subscribed already, again, feel free to subscribe. If you have something that you'd like us to cover, you'd like us to do a video of something or another, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. These are trying times. It might be difficult to fulfill a lot of your comments, but we'll give it a try. And anything else? No. Stay tuned. And then also, if you want some more from here, previous episodes, I've got a lot of episodes. So just go into the back catalog. I think I've been doing this for a few years now. I don't even remember how long I've been doing this, but sorry I've been away, guys. I'm back, feeling better. If you want more content, then just let me know. Let me know what it is that you'd like to see. Maybe I'll go ahead and pick up a new one if you want to see a new one, or if there's one that you guys would like to see a review on. Again, guys, I don't really do reviews on anything prior to 1940 or so. So it's from 1940 between 1888 and 1940 is the range that I'm staying in now. I used to do some guns from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So, but I'm through that, and I kind of have whittled my interest down to now pretty much from 1940 and earlier. So if there is a gun that you guys would like to see from that time period, let me know. If I don't have it, I'll see if I can get my hands on it, and we'll do a little show and tell here. All right, guys, until next time, keep on shooting. I'm CaliAir
Hamilton,
and we'll see you next time.
Cool.